What I got here is the GoPro Hero 11, and over here, the DJI Osmo Action 3. I want to test these cameras out because they are some of the best action cameras on the market right now, but which one is the best of the two? I'm just gonna start this video out by saying hey, hope everything's good with you, and if this is your first time watching me, welcome to the channel. Super happy to have you here. Hope you're gonna enjoy this video, and if you are a long-time viewer, welcome back into the warmth of Mr. Peter Lindgren from Sweden. Okay, when it comes to the build quality of these cameras, they are actually kind of similar. You can see that up top we got the recording button, and then on the left hand side you have the on and off button. But on the Action 3 you actually have two kind of lids that you can open, meanwhile on the GoPro you only have one. I do think that lids feel a little bit more rugged on the Action 3 than what they feel on the GoPro, but might just be a matter of personal taste. Both cameras has the possibilities to actually change out the lens cover or lens protection so that when you are breaking lens or you want to put an ND filter on there, you can do that without any sort of issues. And it's a great thing to have the opportunity to do that, because I remember back on the GoPro 8, I think was the last GoPro that I did a video off, you didn't have the possibility to exchange that. It's like if the glass is broken, then it's gone. Like the entire camera is like that was not a good thing. But both of these cameras has the possibility to do so, and I think that that's great. When it comes to user interface of both of these cameras, I do think that DJI is slightly better than what the GoPro is, but that is probably just a matter of taste. Both cameras are very intuitive to use and very simple to use when you want to capture kind of like simple stuff on the go and get up and running super quick. Looking at the attachments points of the camera, what I like about the GoPro is that you kind of have it built in, right? So you have these what they call feet built into the camera, so you just fold them out like so, and then they're kind of like held back with magnets. On the Action 3 on the other hand, you don't have any sort of feet, but the base plate is magnetic, so you can attach it to maybe a polygrip like this and use as a vlog handle if you want to do that. I think that it's a nice feature. However, when you use the attachments with the feet, there is still gonna be a slight jiggle or slight play between the actual attachment and the camera. And that is something that you don't have on the GoPro, because you have to actually screw it onto the thing that you want to attach it to, which is great when you're flying FPV, because then you know that the camera is gonna be dead on there. With this, you're gonna have some small micro vibrations, and I think that that is, I don't know. Both cameras are waterproof, which is amazing, because I remember back when I was buying my first action camera, it was like, you need to have a waterproof case. And that was just a hassle. Now, on the other hand, you can just dive into the water straight down with these. And the Action 3 is down to like 16 meters and the GoPro is at 10. However though, I've never been down to those depths. So for me, as a regular user, I just care if it's waterproof so I can have it when I'm playing around the beach. Both of these cameras are incredibly rugged, and the Action 3 I know for a fact is one of the best rugged cameras that I've tried. I mean, like, I've been driving it over with a car, I even torched it, and my friend, that Icelandic guy, he actually put it into the freezer while it was recording, and I think it recorded for like 1 hour and 60 minutes or something like that, which is wild. For most use cases, both of these cameras are going to handle any sort of situation just fine. You're still going to be able to salvage the footage, even though if you were to have a crash or if the camera were to break, because the memory cards are kind of like safe inside the cameras. As for the weight, the Action 3 is slightly lighter than the GoPro. It comes in at 145 grams, meanwhile the GoPro comes in at 154, so it's like 10 or 9 grams difference. Might not be a big difference for you when you're thinking about buying any of these, but if you're flying FPV, that might be a good thing for you to know, because less weight means more battery time in the air. Okay, so how do we test the image quality of these bad boys in the best way possible? I got an idea. Voila! We have the perfect unit to compare the stabilization and microphones of both cameras. Haha! I just want to take a quick second and talk about the sponsor of this video, which is Artlist.io. I've been using Artlist ever since 2019, and they are by far one of my favorite places to go for filmmaking assets whenever I need them. As you probably know, I'm a huge fan of sound effects. I love them. And they have one of the most amazing libraries online for sound effects. And in the sequence that you just saw, not only did I find a fitting piece of music to use for that sequence of Artlist, but also kind of like the mouse clicks and the keyboard, like having access to those kind of assets just helps you to take your stuff to the next level. But you also have stock footage that you can use. You also have a bunch of different plugins that you can use for Final Cut Pro and Premiere Pro. And there's so much more within the Artlist Max subscription that you can get. So I'm gonna drop a link down below. Head over there, check it out. You're gonna get 2 months for free when you sign up. Think about that. When it comes to action cameras, I'm always kind of baffled of how good they look, like in the commercials. They make it look so good and so effortless to shoot with an action camera that I always want to have one in my camera bag. And whenever I buy one, I almost never use it. Main reason is because here in Sweden, especially during the winter, this is what it looks like. This is the majority of winter here in Gothenburg, Sweden. We have the gray skies, even color. It kind of looks weird, you know, because the vision that you have of Sweden is that it should be snow in the winter. But look here. Huh? Some traces of snow. Fantastic. Winter is still here. But I thought we should do the first test, which is basically just gonna be walking, see which camera that performs the best. Regular walk, not thinking about which kind of camera that is gonna perform the best or how I'm holding my hands. It's just swinging by. And once you're watching this, you might also want to know that I'm currently shooting this at 30 FPS with both cameras. Fun fact, this is actually the place where we shot Rivals. One of my favorite places to shoot cool videos in. Running test. Running. Running test. Running. Good thing I've been doing some cardio lately so that I have been practicing my cardiovascular veins. Okay. Here we go. Woo. You can see that the camera is kind of like working to figure out the right kind of exposure when I'm turning it around like this. When I'm having it like this, it's like down to ISO 100, I think, and then now we're at 800 or 1600. Should be kind of a nice test to see the dynamic range as well. I don't know about you, but I think that the GoPro definitely had it when it comes to image quality, detail, stabilization, and audio. It's not that the Action 3 is bad, it's just that the GoPro looked better overall in all those tests. But it's also not really that surprising because the GoPro has a bigger sensor which allows you to record in sort of like a 7:8 frame, which means that you get a lot more image to process and stabilize and play around with when you jump into post-production. And when it comes to the stabilization part, I do think that the Rocksteady looked pretty good, but the Real Steady in GoPro and having the possibility to export gyro data is something that is so incredibly good for a lot of situations when you want to use an action camera. And it's a bummer that the Action 3 doesn't allow you to export the gyro data, because I would have loved to have that possibility when I'm flying with this on an FPV drone. Both cameras are shooting in 10-bit, however, and the Action 3 actually has 130 megabit per second. Meanwhile, the GoPro has 120 megabit. So you have a little bit more data stored with the Action 3 than what you got with the GoPro. Both of these cameras cover a plethora of different frame rates, and you don't have to worry that you're not going to be able to shoot in slow-mo with any of these cameras because they have basically the same specs. You can shoot in 4K 60, 4K 120, and you know, all that good stuff. But also I found the test in forest to be a little bit unfair because it's such a low light situation, so that I decided to put both of these onto an FPV drone, full auto on both cameras, same settings, to see which one performed the best. So look at the footage side by side. I don't know what you think, but the Action 3 seems to have a little bit less of a dynamic range than what the GoPro has. The highlights look a little bit blown out, and the sharpness and detail is not on par with what you got on the GoPro. And I think that when you're flying FPV, you want to make sure that you have as much of a dynamic range as possible. And also, looking at stabilization, on the Action 3, you have a little bit of those micro jitters when you're flying and doing these sharp twist turns. On the GoPro, on the other hand, you don't have that because you have the possibility to jump in to real steady to stabilize the footage after the fact that it's shot. And that is something that you don't have with the Action 3. So to sum this video up, I think that both cameras are great. They are definitely capable of capturing great footage, both of them. But the GoPro just comes out on top in all the different aspects that I've tried. Hands down, GoPro, you did a good job with this camera. I like it. And if you're flying FPV drones, the GoPro Mini, it is a good looking camera. Lightweight as well. I would love to know, what do you think? Drop a comment and don't forget to subscribe. I would love to see you in the next video. And Peter from Sweden is saying goodbye. Have a good one.